We have a very special guest today. I have with me Mr. Vijay Raghavan Venugopal. He is the founder of one of the iconic brands that India has seen over the years. It has been around for some time and it's very well known. The Fast and Up brand. So we'll be talking to him in the context of the upcoming TCS World 10K 2020. Welcome, Mr. Venugopal, to this conversation. Great
Thank you,
having you
Rohil.
here.
Thank you so much.
Uh,
Glad to be here.
Perfect. Likewise. So, first of all, let me, as a brand person, start with the brand itself. Tell me a little bit about the brand journey. I mean, building an iconic brand, and that too in this environment, sporting environment. How was it like, and what would you call the differentiating factors of your brand?
Good question, Rohil. Thank you so much. So, Fast and Up as a brand had its genesis in Switzerland in the late 2008, 9. But it actually went dormant and nobody paid much attention to it, right? Because sports was not a focus for that organization at that point of time. So it was
Right.
2015 that we really, in good earnest, brought this brand to India and started from scratch. If you can rewind your journey, I mean, your memories 5 years, 6 years back, there was hardly any good nutrition brand in the country. I mean, you still cannot
True.
name iconic brands in this space. So typically, we all would travel abroad and find some good products abroad and come back and tell your friends to pick it up from wherever they are traveling and get it in. So when we
Right.
started Fast and Up 5 years back, our entire idea was to bring global quality nutrition into India so that consumers in India could afford to have that nutrition on a day-to-day basis. Now, it's
Right.
easier said than done, right? Uh, but fortunately, we had also events like what Procam is doing, the road races picking up in India during that time. So we actually went behind the community of runners to actually, educate them and get that going. And it has been a 5-year
Right.
period. We obviously have had ups and downs. And I think 2020 has been a very interesting year for a lot of nutrition brands because COVID has brought a lot of focus back into nutrition. And companies like Fast and Up,
Right.
which has historically been active in this space, have been able to, take it up faster.
Right. So you're not only a person who runs a sport brand that is associated with sports, but you are a sports enthusiast yourself. Tell me a little bit about it. So how did all it begin, and do you find time to pursue those interests?
I mean, as a child growing up in India, you always have a fancy, if you are sports minded, to look up to sports and see if you can make, life out there, right? But a lot of us
Mm.
don't get that opportunity. And then we get immersed in our professional
Yeah.
life and then get going. So mine was a case where it was similar. I used to play a little bit of cricket, do track and field, play soccer at school and college, but obviously went through the academic route and got into a career. But I think it was around 2011 that I
Right.
found out that running was catching up in India. In fact,
Right.
2003 or 4, I was in Mumbai, and when Procam started the first marathon in the country,
Right.
I remember having registered, but I never took that onus to run. So it
Right.
was 8 years later that I actually did my first 10K at the TCS 10K in, I believe, 2012 event in Bangalore. And
Hmm.
from then on, I've been running. And I think it has been a wonderful addition to what I do. I still compete very seriously, take time out. And I think it has become one of my pillars, I would say, of my life today, apart from my professional life, my family, and the third comes running.
Right. So it's not just that you take part in it, even your brand is associated with this great event. Tell me a little bit more about this association and how is it going for you?
Well, 2015, when we started the brand, we were a nobody, right? I mean, we were just educating people. I'm sure no one would have heard about Fast and Up. But we had one dream because a lot of us had already started running. And we used to look at the Mumbai Marathon and used to dream that one day we would be the hydration partners or the energy partners, whatever you call it. But we were probably ahead of time in 2015. We did interact with the organizers at that point of time, but obviously we were a little too early because nobody knew the brand, etc. So we did a lot of good work in the community, went out into multiple cities, started interacting with them, and the running community gave us a lot of confidence, saying that you guys have been doing a great job, your products are good. So actually in 2018 end, there was an opportunity for us to be part of the road races that Procam does. And it was fortunate that Procam reached out to us, and we were also engaging with them. And I think, as they would say, you need a time and place for everything to happen. And 2019 TCS 10K was the first event that we got together. And this journey has been there. And even 2020, it has been a difficult year for everyone. But I believe this will go, and 2021 would carry on the journey where we came from.
Right, right. So, being somebody who is an avid, sports enthusiast, how do you maintain that work-life balance? Because you're also part of a very big brand, and I know I can understand the kind of stress, there is. Also, this pandemic has there is no clarity between the work and where the work ends, because you're working from home most of the times. So, how do you maintain essentially that, and how do you train in such a scenario and maintain that you are training also regularly?
So for me personally, it has been a fortunate thing that I've gotten into an opportunity into a work which involves interacting with sports, healthcare, and business. I mean, there is a fantastic amalgamation of these three things that I said.
Right.
But as you know, business takes forefront because at the end of the day, you live from quarter to quarter in terms of goals, in terms of targets, etc. Right? But I think what we learn through running is to get that discipline into the system. So if you talk to any runner, his lifestyle before running and once he or she has started running will be typically different, right? So for me, I go to bed early by around 10:30. For me, 5 in the morning to 7 is my time where I strictly go out and do whatever training I need to do. And this doesn't depend on time and place. Even if I'm in a meeting in Mumbai, for example, I make it a point to get up early in the morning and do my run wherever I can find space to run. And running in that way is a very simplistic sport. All you need is a shoe that you carry, have very basic apparels, and then you get out and run, right? So in that way, I've been fortunate, and that is one of the reasons, Ruhail, that uh, I think running has been a good companion for me in the last 8 years, because I always tell this to people, right? I would have loved cricket, I would have loved soccer, I would have loved badminton, but for all these sports, I would need a team to get me onto the ground. Whereas in running, I can do it alone, and that has been the good thing about it.
Right. It's a simpler way of actually being fit at the same time. Absolutely. So, since I am with an expert who understands, nutrition and the facts around it, tell me what type of refueling is required for a normal person. I mean, what do you recommend people? A lot of people are watching us. Some of them are the ones who really partake in such sporting, events. So, what is your advice to them?
So the fundamental thing remains the same. I think water is something that everyone should have, and I think this is something which is undisputed across nutritionists, across doctors, across even parents. They would always advise you to have enough water, be it 3 liters of water, 4 liters of water, right? That is unnegotiable kind of fueling that you should do. But typically, in all our pursuits, especially when it comes to running, even small distances or longer distances, we kind of sweat or work out more than what we normally do, which means that you need to replenish something with water plus. And that plus is where I would say a product like Reload, which is filled with electrolytes, comes in, right? It is basically to refuel whatever your body has lost. So I think
Right.
from a unnegotiable standpoint, I would say that fueling with water plus electrolytes, in this case reload maybe, is
Mm.
something which is a fair thing that everyone should follow. And on
Right.
top of it, you could follow different philosophies, right? I mean, you could have more protein, less protein. You can have more carbs, less carbs. But then,
Mm.
if the basic thing of water plus electrolytes is lost, then I think there
Right.
is a problem which can creep in.
Right. And in a 10-kilometer run, I think it's very critical to not miss on the electrolytes, right? I mean, the cramps and all, right? Am I
Yeah.
right on that,
So
right?
this is a very interesting question because a lot of people make this mistake of taking a 5K or a 10K very easy, right? Because for them it's a
Mhm.
graduation from jogging around a park
Right.
and then doing that
Mm.
extra bit to a 5K or a 10K. So I can
Right.
give you my own personal example.
Mm.
I did the Boston Marathon in 2017. It was April.
Right. Right.
Did with a time of around 2:57, 2 hours 57 minutes or so.
Right.
And TCS 10K happens in May, right, in
Right.
Bangalore. That year, you would not believe that the last 1 kilometer, I virtually crawled. I was completely out of,
Mm.
I was completely dehydrated, and
Right.
I had to literally make my way into the finish line. And then post that, I was given drips. Uh, and
Mhm.
10K is a very small event, right? I mean, one would have wondered from outside that this guy has gone to Boston, run marathons in a good time, right? And then he comes all
Right.
the way
Mhm.
to Bangalore, runs a 10K, and then I mean, it's difficult for him to complete.
Right.
But what
Right.
happens
Right.
in a 5K or a 10K is that your intensity of running is far higher, right?
Mm.
So you
Mm.
actually put your body to so much of stress and intensity
Mm.
that uh, you I mean, you lose a lot of sweat, and if the day is little humid,
Exhaust. Yeah.
you get
Mm.
exhausted, right? Unlike a full marathon or a half marathon, which is a longer distance, you have all the
Right.
time in the world to pick up that water, to pick up that electrolyte, right? In a 5K or a 10K, what happens is your time is always in the back of your mind. You feel that the time
Right.
is clicking very fast, and you don't want to have that water. You don't want to have that extra bit of electrolyte, and you push yourself, and
Right.
finally you probably bear the penalty. So I think it's very important, Rohel, to actually hydrate, be it any
Right.
event, and that's just very essential.
So, which also takes me to the next question: is that what are the kind of best ways of hydrating prior to the run, during the run, and post the run? What would be your advice?
So, Rohel, the basics remains the same for any kind of running. So
Mm-hmm.
typically, what we would suggest is the day before the event, make sure you are well hydrated, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which means that your electrolyte balance in the body is good enough. So when
Right.
you start the event, you have to ensure that your electrolyte balance is great. If your
Right.
electrolyte balance is not good at the start line, then you cannot
Right.
change it in that 40 minutes or 1 hour or 1.5 hours of run. I'm talking about a 10K, right? You
Mm-hmm.
cannot do
Mm-hmm.
much about it, right?
Right.
So it is very important that uh, when you get to the start point, you are well balanced, which means that one day prior to the run, you have to keep hydrating, keep having water
Right.
plus
Right.
electrolytes, and make sure that uh, uh, you are not in a dehydrated condition. And
Mm-hmm.
after that, what typically happens is once you start your run, right? Uh, that is when maybe if you're a very quick runner, I mean, typically you would see on TV folks from Kenya or Ethiopia doing it in 29 minutes, 30 minutes, right? Or even 27 minutes. And you don't
Mm-hmm.
see them taking water or taking electrolytes. And then you
Right.
probably think that if they are not having it, why should I? Right? And that
Mm-hmm.
is where a lot of us make that mistake because they are well
Right.
trained in that and they do it in a very short time. Whereas typically a
Right.
lot of us would take that 45 minutes, 1 hour, 1.5 hours, which is a long enough time. And it's very
Right.
important to keep hydrating. And I'm sure TCS 10K typically have had water stations every 2 minutes, 2 kilometers or 3 kilometers, both fastened up as well as the water. So it's very
Right.
important that you keep yourself hydrated, right? And post the run as well, you would typically like to keep being hydrated, fueled, etc. So that process continues, right?
Right.
So on top of it, there could be a pre-race fuel of having a banana or a little bit of carbohydrates, just to give you that energy to
Right.
start off the race. And during the race itself, a lot of people probably will take a few energy gels, maybe. I mean, maybe one
Right.
single energy gel to give you that punch to run quickly.
Right.
And I think after the
Right.
race is over, you would want to recover. So basically, you would tend to have some, things like a protein or a recovery drink to make sure that your body is good enough to get to office the next day. So this
Right.
will is broadly a framework for you to adhere to. Maybe there are a few modifications, tweaking, which is dependent on the person to person.
Right. I have two more questions. One is that a lot of people are training right now at their respective homes these days because of, they can't go to other places mostly. Some of them are going in a very safe way, but some of them tend to overdo the training sometimes and they exhaust at that stage. During the training, how can, refueling be taken care of during the training as well? How can somebody avoid overtraining and hurting themselves in that process?
Sure. So every run that you do, maybe a 10-kilometer run or a half marathon or whatever the distance is, has typically broadly a prescribed training block, which means that X
Mhm.
number of weeks that you should train for that event, right?
Right.
So a lot of people during that training think that fueling or having the right nutrition is not needed while training, and it is only important during the race, right?
Mhm.
That is a fundamental thing that people should avoid. Whatever you do in training gets converted into the result on the race day, which means
Right.
that your training has to be perfect in terms of the skills that you train, in terms of the paces that you go, in terms of the nutrition you take, right?
Right.
uh, Taking a step forward, during training you will have days which are easy, which are more intense, depending upon
Right.
what your coach gives or what the training plan
Right.
gives,
Right.
right? So
Right.
the most important thing is that every day one should make sure that you have adequate nutrition, which includes having that intake of water plus electrolytes that I told you,
Right.
plus maybe a mix of proteins or amino acids or whatever the case may be,
Right.
and uh, be fresh every day.
Mhm.
If you go slow on nutrition one day, what gets affected is not the training on that day, but what happens the next day.
Entire
Yeah,
next day.
entire day, of
Exactly.
course, because we are
Exactly.
all
Right.
amateurs where we need to go to the office, right? I mean, I
Right.
think
Right.
I'm sure that everyone has to perform in the office as well. Our job is
Right.
not to just on the running track or on the roads.
True.
So that is where it's important that you nutrition every day, and which helps you be fresh and be good enough for the next day. The last piece that I would
Mhm.
want to stress here is during every training block, there will be
Mhm.
times when you are fatigued or you have an injury.
Mhm.
I mean, it's normal.
Mhm.
You will
Mhm.
probably find a day when you have a niggle, or you would find a day where you are fatigued, right? That you are not able to go and do a certain workout, right? It's
Right.
perfectly okay to step back and not do a workout at that intensity on that day. It's not going to change
Right.
the overall success that you are going to get. A lot of people
Right.
fail to understand that, and they think that every day, every minute is crucial. So if a
Mhm.
person is willing to take the right nutrition and willing to step back, I'm sure
Mhm.
there will be no question of overtraining. They will be adequately
Right.
trained, and it's always good
Right.
to get your starting point a little bit. I mean, it's better to be not to be overtrained. A little bit undertrained is okay, but not to be overtrained,
Right.
because a lot of times you suffer.
Overtrained and Injured, yes, absolutely. I want to revisit this question about the last 1 kilometer that decides, that's so critical. But in that one last kilometer, all your training and your refueling and your understanding of sports comes into play. So, what would be your advice for people to sustain in that period, in that particular window of 1 kilometer to 2 kilometers?
Sure. It's a mix of things, Ruhil. So typically, if you have done your hydration well, you're trained well,
Hmm.
if you have been adequately prepared, you typically will not suffer in the last 2 kilometers. But the
Hmm.
fact of the matter is, I still remember that every time so much would have been drilled into your mind that for a TCS 10K, which happens in Bangalore, in Kantirva Stadium, which starts from there, please don't run fast. Yet a lot of experienced runners also start fast for the
Hmm.
first 2 kilometers, and they kind of blow up their entire race because 10K, if you are faster by 10 seconds in the first 1 or 2K, there's a high chance that you will find the going difficult in the last 2 or 3 kilometers. It's a well proven fact. Typically, you will have 10K races which are all done in an even pace. Okay,
Hmm.
but the fact of the matter is, we all struggle in the last 2 kilometers. I mean, we all want to get that extra bit. Some people want to get that extra timing. Some people want to finish. Some people have those demons to fight off, right? So the first important thing is to be well trained, have the nutrition properly, be well hydrated, etc. Still, when you
Right,
hit that
right.
8 kilometer mark, you are still going to need to fight the demons because you want to get over with the race, do it well,
Mhm.
and party hard after that, right? And that's when you
Right.
have a few problems which can crop up. Typically, if you have a cramp, uh, maybe something wrong has gone into your system, body prior to that. A
Mhm.
cramp is something
Mhm.
which is a result of either maybe you have been dehydrated well before, or you didn't take enough of hydration, or something else which could have happened, right? So if you have a cramp,
Mhm.
I mean, if that is your key race, you might want to, make sure that you still push hard, finish off that in some way, right? Uh, Maybe it is not your cramp, it could be something else, right? I mean, sometimes I've found that in the last 1 or 2 kilometers, you find your legs are very heavy to move. For all the training that you
Mhm.
do, it is like that moment where the legs are simply not moving. I mean, and
Mhm.
you see the watch and you find that your speed is dipping every 10 seconds, right? Your mind
Mhm.
says you want to move hard, move faster, but you're not simply not able to do it. So in a lot of cases, training is the only way you can enhance that, right? But having said that, what also happens in the last 1 kilometer is there is a lot of mind play which happens, right? The mind and the body functions differently. I can vouch for the fact that be it a 5K or a 10K, in spite of
Mhm.
having had run the half marathons and full marathons, for me, the mind tells me to stop at a 8 kilometer mark or 9 kilometer mark. It's just 1 kilometer. You would have trained lots of kilometers, but when it comes to a race, somehow the mind tells you to stop, right? And
Mhm.
that is when I think you need to tell your mind that go on for that extra 1 kilometer. By everyone has their own tricks, like sometimes you would want to dedicate that 1 kilometer to somebody, or you would think of the good times that you had and finish off that 1 kilometer, and try and do that the last 1 kilometer. uh, in my case, again going back to the incident that I had in 2017, where the last even 300 meters was becoming difficult for me. uh, I knew that I had to complete, but my legs were not moving. I was not cramping, but I was fully dehydrated. Uh, but I had to constantly tell my mind that it is just only 300 meters to go and finish that. whatever has happened, I cannot undo it. Maybe I could have had a lot of water, they had a lot of electrolytes, etc. But maybe something didn't go right that day. So a lot of things in 10Ks or in 5Ks or in full marathons depend on how your mind thinks. And I've heard this from a lot of foreign coaches as well, that it's just that your mind is trying to tell you an alternate opinion and to stop. So don't hear that. Go ahead and finish it. And a lot of times I have seen runners who would have stopped, who have ended that race, and I would have asked them, could you have run that last 1 kilometer faster? They would have said, certainly yes, I could have. But why didn't you do that? Right? Something played in your mind which made you hold back. So I think a lot of times runners do go through it. It's very basic, but I think you need to fight that demons in your mind apart from the training that you have done.
Right. Great. And my final question is about, in this pandemic, not many events have taken place, but Procam and TCS have done it once again. And it brings also back the sentiment. The idea is to bring back the sentiment, of course, supported by brands like yours. How do you see this whole effort to make this come back and give this industry the hope that, pandemic is not going to defeat us? How do you see this sentiment?
So, Rohel, in every industry, in every community, every sport, there are going to be leaders, right? People who you look up to from a community. I think Procam is one such entity which runners in India look up to, right from 2004 or so, when they have started the revolution of running in the country. So it was
Right.
always important that Procam took the first step to take uh, the next leap of faith, and they did it beautifully well with the Airtel Delhi Half Marathon. And I'm sure a group like Tata's, for example, with whom a lot of marquee events are tied into, right? Like the TCS 10K, have had a major
Right.
role to play to give that confidence to Procam to get going, right?
Right.
So it's very important for the leadership in terms of whoever is leading the way in that sector, in that category, to take that leap of faith and show the way. And I think
Right.
brands like Fastened Up and others would always want to be part of the ecosystem. And I'm happy that we have had a few good partners who have come together. And it's a lot of, it's not easy to do an event, not just from a practical aspect, but also from a commercial aspect, right?
Right.
There are so many variables which change when you have a different event, right? So I'm sure all brands have taken that extra effort, and Procam has been a big binder in that way to get people involved. And I really hope that 2021 is going to be a better year, and we actually look forward to some of the events happening on the ground.
Absolutely. Likewise. And wonderful talking to you, Mr. Venugopal, learning some insights into refueling, of course, some great takeaways as well. Pleasure talking to you. Hope to see you on an on-ground event very soon. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Rohel. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.